Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of HITSZN. My name's Erica Whitaker, and I'm joined by Nick Henderson, my lovely co-host of the day. So this is another episode of
Behind the Lens.
Love it. And you guys have come to know Behind the Lens. And it's just a conversation. It's just a time for Nick and I to catch up on where he's been, where we've been, what's been going on, and what's happening. So, Nick, what's been happening in your life?
So much. So much. January has been an absolute crazy time because the last time you and I got together and really talked was Christmas Eve.
Yes.
So obviously went through the holidays and all that other fun stuff and New Year. And then it was bam, right back into cheer season.
Right into comp season.
I have been traveling every weekend.
Yeah.
All of January.
I think we're 4 weekends in a row deep now. So
yes, we'll have a brief weekend off. I say a brief weekend because that's all it's going to be is a brief weekend. And then we head to Cheersport.
Absolutely. So we went up north to start our 2025 off with a bang. And that was fantastic. It was very cold. That was great. What were some of your thoughts on kind of that whole experience?
It was an experience. The competition itself, like the actual competition itself was very well ran. Like I really liked it.
I agree.
I liked the venue. I think that was cool. It wasn't like spread out a ton of different places. I think it really worked well there. But the actual location of the venue, of which the city, Atlantic City, I'm so sorry for those of you who live in Atlantic City. I don't know if you would or not, but I don't understand why Varsity put a comp there.
I agree. It was definitely an experience for sure.
Yeah.
I think it was great because I know for my daughter, she was able to really watch some other gyms that she wouldn't necessarily have seen otherwise.
Yeah, it's a northern competition.
It's a northern competition. And I think it was an interesting experience just to see kind of another city that we wouldn't necessarily have gone to. So I think
or go back to.
I think you're right. It was a well-ran competition. I feel like it highlighted some really great areas that, you know, we wouldn't necessarily have seen these teams, but I agree with you. It wasn't my favorite.
I just don't understand why they put this competition in a place where it's really adult centric.
Yes.
You've got casinos, you've got a lot of bars, you've got some dispensaries, you've got gambling. I mean, you've kind of got a lot of things that really only adults can do. And so I really was disappointed in the fact that it was located there.
I agree.
It was very cold. So we took the train up, which was an adventure.
Definitely.
And we got there Friday, I think it was, right? Got everything all settled in, and then immediately went to work on Saturday for competing. I was really excited. So I was actually filming with a group out of Buffalo, New York, Buffalo Envy. So we have a ambassador on that group, Peyton. And so they brought out all their teams from Buffalo, and shout out to Buffalo Envy because they were the most like welcoming.
That's amazing.
People, from the parents to the coaches to the athletes to the friends of the athletes. It was awesome. I had such a blast recording with them. I'm still working on their edit, and you can tell that's how busy I've been because that was the second week of January, first week of January.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Got to see just some good people and got to catch up with ambassadors that I hadn't been able to see yet. So that was a lot of fun. Let's talk about the routines and what we saw from the northern teams versus what we saw from like our southern teams.
Yes. So I think what surprised my daughter the most was, you know, we are at a gym that values creativity and the fast pace. And it's not just our gym. We're in the South.
Yeah.
We are more normalized to seeing that more fast paced, that creativity.
Which is funny because everybody thinks the Southerners are so slow.
Yes, I know. We have to make it up in our cheer.
In the cheer world, it's the complete opposite because in the North, all of the routines were very like precise.
Yes.
I personally felt like they lacked a lot of creativity, but they were just very precise. They were very well
clean.
Executed, very clean, but they were also a much slower pace.
Yes. So that was interesting to kind of see what the judges valued there, what the choreographers valued there, because I think you can learn a lot about what a gym values and what they put in their routine.
100%. Because all of the Southern routines that we saw up there were scoring very similar.
Yes.
And all of the Northern routines we saw up there were scoring very similar. And that's what we saw last year in Ocean City.
Yes,
for Battle
absolutely.
at the Beach. It was just, I joked that the competition was the same. It was just moved,
yes,
100 miles north or 50 miles north, whatever the case may be. But it was very similar to that.
It was. And I think it was a great learning lesson for all the girls to really see what the differences were and how that might apply to them. And I think there's always things for us to learn. Maybe our teams could have come and they could have been a little bit cleaner. Maybe, their teams, maybe they learned that, hey, we really loved what those teams did, and maybe we should spice up the routine a little bit. So I think it's just that everybody's kind of learning and growing, and it was great.
What's interesting though is that when we left Atlantic City and we came home, we closed our eyes for what felt like 10 minutes, like a power nap. And then boom, we're right back at it. And we're at Spirit of Hope.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorites.
Yes. Which is in our hometown.
It is. It's in Charlotte.
And it serves such a great purpose.
Love it. Love it. So Spirit of Hope, for those of you who don't know, Spirit of Hope is a great competition, not only because it's like your first like big one. You either go to Spirit of Hope or you go to Jam Fest. So they're both the same weekend. And it was interesting to see the amount of people that were still at Spirit of Hope. Yes. There was 450 something teams, I think is what I was told. But yes, it stands for a good thing. So the Spirit of Hope Foundation, or March for Hope. Is it March for Hope?
March for Hope.
It's about a little girl who passed away and lost her battle to cancer and was a huge cheerleader. And so it's just really pouring back into that community and really kind of help with that. And so that is a good one for us, just for the pure fact of love that it's local. Yes. It's a good competition. It's big. You have to start doing a little bit of running.
Yes. Not too much, just a little.
Oh my gosh. I did so much. So at Spirit of Hope, I was shooting for ATA, which is our home gym. And so was really excited to have the opportunity. I'm working on a really big long-term project for them. And so getting as much footage as we can is really the name of the game right now. And so I filmed every team, every routine. For those of you who have never been to Spirit of Hope, there are literally 3 halls, 4 if you count the awards. I went to every single one, Erica, like 7 times.
Yeah.
There were times where I was like, Crown Ballroom, run to Hall A, and I had like 4 minutes in between. Crown A, back to Crown Ballroom, back to Hall B. It was crazy.
Yeah, with 9 teams there, and I think it's just 9 just elite. I think then on top of that, there are additional prep and novice teams as well.
We had the 2 little ones.
Yeah, so it was great. I think it was, like I said, it's always a great opportunity to hear the story. It's always a great opportunity to support, but it's always a great, to see this. You really get to start to see the routines and people that you are, you see all the time. So Cheer Extreme, Charlotte Athletics, all of those were there.
Yeah. And so the cool thing I really liked about this comp, specifically this year, is something that like I really like to pour into, is showing like our humility, especially when it comes to the cheerleaders and the ambassadors. And so I released a new sweatshirt, limited edition, and it was Hope designed. So Jessica, my wife, designed it, and then I executed on it, and then we sold them. And then we are donating 25% of the proceeds to the Spirit of Hope Foundation. But what was really cool is after everything was said and done, Zoe and I walked over and got to talk to Stuart, which was Hope's dad, and his mom, or in her mom. And we're just telling them all about Hit Zero Media and like what we were doing with the sweatshirts and so on and so forth. And so it was a really, really cool thing. And so Stuart had showed some interest actually in joining on us with the podcast. So that'll be really cool. I really want to catch up with him and just really hear that story more in depth and get a little bit more thing. But backing up, before we had that conversation was awards.
Yes. And I feel like had a very good showing for our gym. it was very impressive. And we might have walked home with a couple jackets.
Yeah, it was. So people always ask me, they're like, what's your favorite cheer memory? And my favorite cheer memory up until Spirit of Hope was getting third place with Zoe's Y2 team
That was an
last year at
amazing
Cheer Sport.
year.
It was
Yes.
absolutely incredible. I cried. It was absolutely amazing. I didn't know what was going to top that instead of winning Cheer Sport until she won, or their team won, Spirit of Hope.
Yes.
Out of 12 teams. It was incredible. I was fortunate and privileged enough to be on stage with my camera during awards, and we shared a lot of tears. It was really kind of crazy. So we started getting top, obviously they get into like top 8, and then they get to top 5, and then we get to top 3, and then they say third place. And so now you're like, okay, our team is left within these first 2. And I remember looking at both the coaches with me on stage, and I said, I might pee my pants. Like, I think I'm going to pee my pants. Like, that's how like nervous I was, excited I was. And I just didn't really know how to feel. And so my camera was ready. As soon as they were starting to announce second place, my camera was on, and I'm just on this group. And was incredible, because as soon as they were like, okay, first and second place, separated by 3/100ths of a point, I'm like, you have to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. And so I'm like, okay, it's anybody's game. I don't know what's going to happen here. And it just so happened that both teams started with A.
Yes.
Which was like,
because you're looking for the mouth at that point. Everybody's focused in on the mouth. And yeah, of course they start with A.
So I've got my camera on the group, and of course they're all huddled down like they're searching in the dirt for gold.
Yes.
And they say second place, ACX. And I lost it. And all the girls at this point, it had hit them probably 35%. Like, I go back and I watch the footage. They knew obviously at that point that they won, but they wanted to hear that out loud. And as soon as they said, in your first place champions are ATA Aftershock, it was waterworks.
Yes.
It was, I get teary-eyed now just thinking about it. It was probably one of the craziest, awesomest, I don't even know if that's a word, but I made it up, experiences. Zoe was on stage, obviously. She turned and looked at me, and she is just sobbing. And then I'm crying. Coaches are like, it just was this whole thing. And it really was just such a special moment for not only the girls, because they did it, but for all of us, in one which way or another.
And the girls that I really hold in, I know it meant, of course, if this was their first time on Aftershock, of course it meant the world to them, obviously, as it should. They played just as important a role. But I think the ones that really broke and melted my heart were these girls who this is their second or third year on Aftershock.
Yeah.
And they have been chasing this win. And Aftershock has had a rough couple of seasons, and they've had a lot of change. They've had a lot of ups and downs. They had some people who left the team, who joined the team. And for the last couple of years, it has been a very up and down season for them.
Yeah.
This team in particular. And there have been some girls, our children included, who have been on this team kind of through it all.
Yeah.
And there's probably a subset of maybe 8 to 10 girls who have been through this. And they stuck through it, and they worked and they worked. And I feel like as much as it meant for somebody who's been here on this is their first year, it meant 10 times to these girls who have worked over multiple seasons to get where they are. And they were just so proud. And I think that was seeing their faces after working so hard. It was just so amazing to see.
Yeah, that team, Y2 is just a tough division. There's so many good teams in Y2, and just so many teams in general in Y2.
Yes.
It's really that stepping stone. And it was just, they've seen a lot of success over the years. They've seen a lot of trials and tribulations over the years. They've gotten really close to some jacket moments. And they did it. Yeah. They saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and they did it. So I'm filming, and Zoe's crying, and then eventually, they get the championship banner. That's great. And then it's time for them to leave the stage. Zoe is still crying. She cries all the way off the stage, down the stage. And then now we're running because she's got another award ceremony. She's also on the J2 team.
Yep.
we're running to go to get jackets, but then we realize we don't have enough time to actually get there because there's so many people at Spirit of Hope. So we turn back around. Now, meanwhile, the crying has not stopped. We are still crying. She comes back and we go in and we get ourselves back into awards for velocity. She comes up, that's her J2 team. We get up on stage, so on and so forth. And then she wins another jacket.
Yes.
It's like,
what a day.
Then the tears just start turning. But I will tell you, the second favorite moment, now I've got 3 great moments in cheer. My second favorite moment was her coach that's been with her for a long time, her whole cheer career. There's a lot of like moving parts when it comes to these comps, especially the bigger ones. The coaches have to really divide. And you got to decide who's going to be wearing. Sometimes they finish up early where they can come to something else. And one of her coaches came from Aftershock over and was able to bring her jacket. And so I handed her coach, that has been her coach for a while, shout out to Regan. And I handed her coat. And her and I were talking about Zoe and the success that she's had at this comp. And I said, I want you to give her jacket. And the water, it was just a special moment. It's like full circle when you're training and you're just working so hard together and you're pouring into these athletes. And so she gave her and put her first jacket on. And it was really special. Unfortunately, that part was not on camera. But you know what? Sometimes things don't have to be on camera.
Yes. Hayden was lucky, fortunate enough as well. She walked home with 2 jackets as well from her second team. So all in all, the gym had a fantastic showing. I believe there were, if I remember right, 6 of the 9 teams won. And it was a fantastic, we were very, very happy. So it was a great weekend, all in all.
And then we go home.
Then we went home for, again, what I think was 10 seconds.
Yep.
And we were right back in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yep. Which is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Because it's a smaller comp. Yeah. Although it's not so small anymore.
It's not so small anymore. You know, 2 or 3 years ago, I felt like it was a small comp. I don't know that I would classify it. I mean, a smaller in the sense of like a Spirit of Hope, but it's gotten very big and it was great. And you know, there was a lot of, you know, the girls had just come off this amazing win and now they have to go out there and do it again. For both, I believe your daughter and my daughter's teams, we had combined. We had small versus mediums and they had combined divisions. And so it was this other hurdle of, okay, how can we keep on going? How can we keep on doing this? And what are we going to do? And ultimately, it was a good weekend.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. So I was there with both ATA and Fame as well. So Fame All-Stars, I shot their showcase and I've shot a couple other things for them. So they had me out to film 3 of their teams. One of their teams, I felt so terrible. They had so many music issues with them.
I can't believe they didn't have them redo it.
Well, they did.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. They came back out and they got to redo their routine again. Just some music issues. And, you know, at the end of the day, it happens. And the girls and guys, they have to be prepared for stuff like that. And I think they were very well prepared. But they came out and did it again.
As they should have.
100%.
I think anybody who saw that team go out felt like they should have had the opportunity.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, you have to, you know, it's the right thing to do. It's not like they got halfway through the routine and had 3 stunt falls and then you're going to let them redo it again. That poses a different conversation. But, so it was a lot of fun. Got to film them and just see some people that I hadn't seen in a while. You don't get to see a lot of these people very often because sometimes they don't align with some of the comps that you're going to. And sometimes when they do, you got to catch up and hang out. So that was a lot of fun. Again, a lot of success with Raleigh. A lot of interesting feels of like coming off of a high, off of a really big comp and then coming to a smaller comp and how you react to that. But I will tell you, the magic sauce is this. Of course I dropped it. Is this stuff right here. Let's see if it'll focus. Yes. Will it focus?
Oh, you're going to be an influencer.
Yeah.
Pull out an influencer moment.
This is Happy Moment Glitter Stick. If I hadn't dropped it, it's right there. But the unicorn, I call it the scent, the unicorn flavor, the unicorn scent. Last year I used it a couple times, and I'll preface it by saying the girls would think it was hilarious to come up and just take this glitter stick and shove glitter on.
And you had chunks of it, which is the best part, literal chunks of it on your face.
Yeah, I would have failed.
I came by at one point and was like, all right, let's get this a little bit under control.
Yeah, so we put it on at Spirit of Hope, and we had a lot of success. And we put it on again at Raleigh, and we had a lot of success. And we put it on Atlantic City and had some pretty good success. So I've decided that the only reason everybody is succeeding is because I'm wearing this glitter, which is just hilarious. I'm really superstitious. Obviously, I grew up playing hockey, and hockey players are superstitious.
Now you have an
I can't
answer.
even say it.
Superstitious.
Superstitious.
It's like schleppy.
Oh, the schlep. So I have invested into 2 sticks of glitter.
I love it.
And so I will be wearing that for the rest of the season.
I love it. I can't wait.
It gets everybody hyped up.
Yeah, I think that's, so let's shift a little bit. So we've talked about some places that we've been, but let's talk a little bit about, for our junior crossovers, which I believe there are 4 of them that go from junior to youth in our gym.
Yeah.
This is going on their 4th week of competing. For just our regular girls, this is our 3rd week of competing. So how have you seen the mood in the gym, the hypeness of the gym? Have you seen that come down? Are they starting to get tired, or are they still super excited?
I'll be really curious to see this weekend. So the youth teams have a 1-day event in Concord. So I'll be at that, and I'll be very curious to see how they do. Yes. Because the high coming off of... So, all right, let me back up. So the youth teams in our gym they competed in December at Gatlinburg. All of our teams competed in December at Gatlinburg. Then Atlantic City was just junior and senior teams.
You had 4 crossovers.
Right. So 4 crossovers that went, so they still competed. And then, mind you, in Gatlinburg, those crossovers competed with both teams. So take a crossover. It's a good example. They competed 4 times in December. They competed 2 times in the first week in Atlantic City. Then they competed 4 times again at Spirit of Hope. And then they competed 4 times in Raleigh. And then they'll compete 2 times this weekend. So the junior senior teams have their first week off. The high was big coming out of Spirit of Hope. It's a big comp. They won jackets. The gym did predominantly very well. So it's a big high. I did notice at at Raleigh, it felt like some of the teams were tired. Maybe a little bit of mix of this is going to be an easy one. It's hard for me to say, right? I'm really curious to see the youth teams this weekend. I think they're going to come out and do really well. I think they probably got a small reality check off day 1 that is like, hey, listen,
this is not guaranteed.
Nothing is guaranteed. You need to go out and do your job, and everybody needs to execute no matter what venue you are in, how many teams you're going against, whatever the case may be. But it brings up an interesting point that 4 weeks in a row, I think they're starting to feel a little bit tired because there's a little bit of keep your eyes awake and just keep going, but eventually you run out of gas. But then they've got a week off.
And then what comes next?
Cheer sport. So excited about cheer sport this year. I'm going to be at Friday Night Lights. So anybody who's watching this episode, which will come out tomorrow, I am going to be sending out some proposals to a lot of gyms for Friday Night Lights and filming some exclusive videos. So if you're looking for videos and you are on a team or at a gym that has a team at Friday Night Lights, now's your chance.
Yes, it is going to be an amazing opportunity. I think we are going with both of our families to just go and watch. Our girls, they're so young. They're soaking it all in right now. They're looking at those girls and they are just so excited. And guys.
Yeah, all the cheerlebrities will be there.
All the cheerlebrities will be there. And, Hayden's already talking about her duck, which Gabby Butler has signed, about how fast she can bring her little duck around and see if anybody else will sign it for her. So I think that is an amazing opportunity for the girls just to go and get excited, get hyped. It's Friday night before cheer sport. And then I think we're going to be there all day on Saturday and all night.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. I think cheer sport is great for not only the athletes to really see what it's like to compete on a big stage. Yes. I mean, it's a big competition. The best of the best go to cheer sport. I always call it the summit preview, because if you really want to see how you're going to stack up at summit, cheer sport's a really good indicator for you. Yes. Where are you going to, what are you going to need to do? What adjustments do you need to make? Yes. Who are you going to be going up against? A lot of it is also watching your competition and seeing how they do and what they do and so on and so forth. So with that said, I also think it's great for the parents. So we will not meet until after cheer sport. So I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of go over like a couple tips for people at cheer sport. Because I was talking to a couple parents last night at the gym and I was like, have you been to cheer sport before? And it's always that deer in the headlights. And I had the same look when I had never been. And they were like, no. And I was like, And I always ask, I say, do you think Spirit of Hope was crazy? They're like, yeah. I'm like, sit down, young child. Let me tell you. So what would you say?
Okay, number one tip, 100% AirTag. AirTag freaking everything. AirTag your shoes, AirTag your uniform, AirTag your child. I mean, if I could put a freaking AirTag in her arm, I would do it. Backpack, I relied on those so much, and it was so helpful because there's so many people there, and there's so many kids, and they all look the same because they all have the hair and their bow and their makeup. And the room that we're in is huge, and you're trying to find all your things. So for me, it was an AirTag, hands down.
Yeah, my top tip would be give yourself plenty of time.
Yes.
Because, Jess and I are Disney addicts. I just say that. Or Disney addicts. And for those of you watching the podcast, you can see that I have this plate like right beside my head, which I keep noticing because I keep shifting because I can't sit still.
Which I told him not to do, by the way.
And it looks like a Mickey ear, and we're just going to have to live with it. Something that you learn by going to Disney over and over and over is give yourself plenty of time, because while it's only 3 miles away, you have so many variables in between those 3 miles. And that's the same thing with cheer sport. If your meet time is at 9 a.m., show up at the convention center at 8 a.m. Like I always say, the hour rule, like give yourself an extra hour, because you never know what's going to happen. The schedule, this will be a funny joke, could move up. Cheers for it. Yeah, right. But it could
move down is more like it.
Yeah, it could move up. You could run into traffic. You could think of something as simple as I'm going to get an Uber and I'm going 2 miles. I want to grab
breakfast. You know what? My athlete is hungry. I want to actually stop. And the line is 20 minutes long.
It's better to get your athlete to where they need to be for the meet spot early than it is to show up late with a breakfast burrito.
Yes. Oh, 100%. I think I would be terrified.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
I think the other thing is take all the pictures, even the ones that you don't think you're going to want, because I think cheer sport is it's such a blur. It goes by so fast, and you blink and it's over. And all of a sudden you're like, I have 2 pictures from the entire event. And it's easy, but take the pictures, ATA does a really good job because we have Georgia is there as well. So we share a room or share a section of a room together. And so we have the ATA lights out, and it's decorated with the balloons. Take the pictures. You're going to want them.
Yeah. I think my next tip is if you can logistically and financially afford at cheer sport, to stay as close to the venue as possible. Ubers, you think Ubers are easy. They are not during cheer sport, because you have to take into consideration all the tens of thousands of other people that are going to be there. They're going to take Ubers too. And so don't rely on that. You really need to stay as close as you possibly can. And I understand people can't. And if you can't stay as close as you can, make sure you get the parking pass.
Yes,
but it's sold out already.
I've heard it's already sold out.
Yeah, it's been sold out for weeks.
I heard it sold out within the day it went out.
Yeah, it made a lot of people angry.
Yeah, so that was crazy. Yep, we opted to spend way too much money and are standing very close. And I've already told my husband that we saved money everywhere else, so I am not moving this reservation. I am committed.
Time is money, and money is time. Yes. So I want to stay as close, especially with me filming so much over the weekend. I have to be close.
Yes. I think my other tip would be really embrace the crazy. And it is going to be crazy. There's a bar in the middle, so you're going to see constant parents there and running and mimosas and
mimosas
and more mimosas, and parents who are trying to get their athlete. We are both the parents of a crossover, so it's parents trying to get their athlete from one team to another, or they want to go see this amazing gym and they want to go see this. So there's so many back and forths, but I think embrace the crazy, spend the time with all the parents. They're all going to be in the same boat you are. And I think it's going to be fun.
So I have two last tips. Number one, my dog is giving a thing. Vamonos. Thank you. The one tip that I have is if you have small siblings of cheer, make sure that there is a parent really dedicated to them.
Yeah.
Not only for a walking around, finding activities for them to do, keeping an eye on them. There are so many people at cheer sport. It is very easy for your other child to get lost in the mix. And I hate saying it like that, but it can happen. Get lost in the mix, so on and so forth.
We had a child that got lost 2 years ago, and I could not imagine being in that big of a surrounding.
Yeah.
Even for 30 seconds to turn around.
Yeah. So that's my one tip. And then number two is to find a veteran parent that will take you under their wing for the weekend. I don't mean follow you around everything, but ask questions. Ask questions. Ask what to do. You don't want to show up at the wrong convention center because Atlanta has two of them. It's very easy to do that.
Or the wrong hall.
Ask questions because it's just that easy to know. You would much rather be over prepared than under prepared. And then bonus tip, pack lots of snacks and water.
Yes.
You have to.
You have to.
Yeah, cheer sport's going to be fun. I'm very excited. Spend the extra time there. Make sure you take advantage of things like going to the aquarium. Varsity gives out discounts for that, which is really cool.
Coke Museum is there.
There's some good restaurants. Hopefully you made your reservations already.
Fun pop-ups. I believe Infinity will have a pop-up. Rebel will have a pop-up.
HITSZN Media might be having a pop-up.
Maybe hint, wink, wink.
Yes.
So there's some really good stuff. It'll be a lot of fun.
And then we take a little bit of a break.
Yes.
And by a little, I mean a couple weeks. Is it 2 weeks or no?
I think it's only a week.
That's right. Because then we go to Encore and then we'll take a break and then we
right back to back for 3 weeks, I believe.
Can-Am and Myrtle Beach and then Nashville. And I'm super excited.
Beenup is going to be so exciting.
I actually talked to the lady when we were in Raleigh. She was in line at Starbucks with me and I got to talk to her. She's in charge of all of experience, which is really cool.
What a job.
Yeah. I want to try to get her on the podcast because I want to just hear about that. But she's in complete charge of experience and she's finishing up and she said it's going to be so much fun for everyone involved, both like judges and coaches, athletes, parents, whatever. So I'm really excited about going to Atlanta or going to Nashville.
Yes. And Nashville's just fun. There's so much to do. Might have to go on Broadway for a little bit.
Heck yeah. Yeah. I'm going to hit up like a hockey game, I think, at Bridgetown. So that'll be fun. So yeah, the cheer season, don't blink because it's going to be gone. And then we're going to be talking about end of year celebrations of World Summit, Regional Summit, Youth Summit, the All-Star Worlds, the Quest US Finals.
Yes. And I think we have teams at Regional Summit and Summit. And so we'll see where else you might pop up.
Worlds?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be at Worlds. I've got a couple teams we're talking to right now to go film at Worlds. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm just really excited for that. And then I'm really excited to close my eyes for a week and a half, and then boom, we're back at tryouts, which will be fun. Hopefully can work with some gyms to work on tryout marketing material to show what they're looking for and so on and so forth, and watch building these teams. And then next year, something I really want to do is find one team or one program, and I want to follow them from tryouts all the way to end of season celebrations and really kind of dive deep of what that looks like. Yes. Make almost like a mini series. I was hoping to do it this season current, but it's so much going on. So much going on and so hard. It almost has to be a team that your child is not on so that you can take full focus, and it's so much. All right, let's do rapid fire questions based off of our season. Do you want to start?
All right. So, all right, I'll start. So, who is the most unlikely person that you have in your wanderings that you've met so far?
Probably that I've like physically met in person, or
it's somebody you talk to. Maybe it's Spirit of Hope, Atlantic City, Raleigh. Who's a good one?
So I got to talk to, I'm going to go with the lady, and I forget her name. So sorry if you're watching. The lady who's in charge of guest experience for the competitions. She was super, super nice. The Starbucks line was very long.
I am sure it was.
And so we got to talk for quite some time. And she was super, super nice. So I'm going to stay with her. Favorite hotel you've stayed at this season?
I think it has to be... Actually, I'm going to throw you. I think it was the Hyatt for Spirit of Hope.
Really?
I have historically stayed at the JW in downtown Charlotte. I actually think I would stay at the Hyatt again next year. It was so nice. It was very, very upscale, and they're going through a renovation, and I was very impressed.
Sweet. Yeah. So a nice alternative to the JW for those of you staying at Spirit of Hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it has free breakfast, so...
Free breakfast is nice. We got lucky. We stayed at the JW, but we had concierge service, which makes me sound so bougie. I'm a hotel snob. I'm not afraid to admit that. I like a good hotel room. We had a corner unit, which was really cool, overlooked the conference center, which was pretty cool. And the concierge service had awesome breakfast, even though it started at 7 and I had to be at the thing at 6:30.
Oh, yeah.
I still found a way to get some of that stuff.
I love it. What is a team that you watched over your last couple of weeks that surprised you, that you really were impressed by?
Buffalo Envy, Bad Girls Club.
What level was that?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that.
Sorry.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say they are I'm not even going to guess because they're going to correct me in the comments. They'll say it in the comments. Just so much fun.
That's awesome. I loved their uniforms.
Love their uniforms. And I love how they did their uniforms. So they have shorts, but then they have skirts that go over the shorts.
Which I totally missed. I saw it and I still didn't know.
So day 2, they wear essentially a different uniform. So I'm going to say that's going to be my first team, which is Buffalo Envy. And then I have to give a shout out to our home gym. I really, really, really like Vortex's routine this year.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. It's so much fun to film. I really like it. So those would be my 2 teams. Okay. What is one thing you will not forget to bring to Cheersport with you?
My air tags, obviously.
Will you put fresh batteries in all of them?
Yes, because that's how I lost my cat. So
She forgot to put a fresh battery in her cat.
I did. And then he got eaten by a coyote. Ask me about that story later.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Benny.
Yeah.
Okay. So you do the glitter. You're very superstitious. No, I can't say it. Now, you are a very superstitious person.
There you
go. You do the glitter already. Anything else that you do that you've picked up on maybe the last couple weeks?
So the glitter, I don't do it. I have an athlete do it.
Smart. Is it the same athlete?
It is not. But I will say for Raleigh, the same athlete did it twice. So that is interesting. Yeah, I'm very superstitious. I always go into the venue before any team start. And I always record part of the first routine, regardless of who it is, to dial in all my settings because I want it to be perfect.
Smart.
And every stage is not lit the same. I can tell you that right now. But I will say shout out to whoever lit the stage at both Spirit of Hope and Raleigh. Fantastic job.
I thought they did a very good job at both places. Sometimes even watching it can be like really dark.
Yeah, they get dark pockets in the corners.
Yeah.
And it gets a little sketch, but they did a really nice job with both. So I do that. I always go in there. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I overpack batteries because I get so nervous, which was ironic because I but I ran out of a battery in a mid routine this last weekend, which really irritated me, but you live and you learn. If you could drive to every comp or fly to every comp, what would you do?
Fly, hands down. And that's coming from someone who hates flying with a passion.
Yeah.
I have discovered, so this past comp, I did not bring my husband. And so I drove everything. I did all the things. And, I was like, I am not really feeling the driving of all of this.
Really?
I just feel like I do a lot of, so we, unfortunately, you are like 10, 15 minutes from the gym. We are 45 from the gym, 40 on a good day.
So you're in the car all the time.
So I'm in the car all the time. So I feel like if I just have my own plan.
And Erica refuses to go electric yet. We're almost there.
I love my Jeep. I drive a Jeep Wrangler and I love him.
Ask Erica how many times that thing's broken down.
He's the dumbest boy in school.
I don't even think he goes to school anymore. I'm pretty sure he's dropped out.
Yes, the dumbest boy in school.
It's crazy. Yeah, I think I hate flying as well. But I like driving. I like the freedom and the control of driving.
That's fair.
So fun story. Erica will not think this is a fun story, and she already knows where I'm headed.
If it starts with the word train, I'm out.
So we took the train all together. Her family and ours took the train together to Atlantic City.
My fun question should be, will you ever take the train again?
Hands down. Yes.
And never, ever, ever, ever in a million years will I set foot on a train ever again.
You heard it on the podcast. My goal is going to be to get you guys back on a train.
Absolutely not.
So we took the train up. It was a great experience. We had a bunch
It was a great experience.
We had a bunch of different, what's it called on there? Athletes on there. So that was good.
And there were athletes that we wouldn't necessarily have spent time with.
Yeah, which was really cool. The girls like built forts and did all this stuff. So it was a great experience. Perfect. Get off the train, get on, what do? We got on another commuter train, dropped us right off at the thing, got in an Uber, got to the hotel.
Fantastic
Place is
experience.
disgusting. Shout out Tropicana. And so that was great. Then you guys, because Hayden ended earlier than Zoe's awards did, so you guys took an earlier train.
Yes.
Now, mind you, earlier that day, I was like, I want to get the heck out of here. So I'm going to get home a different way. I'm going to rent a car.
Worst regret of my life that we did not go with you.
Yes. So I said, do you guys want to go in with this? I can get an 8-passenger car because you guys had 3 with you.
Yes.
And we had all 5 with us. So fitting 8 people in one vehicle is a tricky situation. It's not like fitting 4 or 5. So I get on and I find a rent a car from the Philadelphia airport. It was 60. I think all in all, I actually just got the final bill. It was like $76.16 or something.
I hate
total. That was including the gas. So I said, I'm going to rent this vehicle. Now I'm going to rent the car regardless because I wanted to get out of there. So your train left that day.
Our train left that day.
On Sunday. We were leaving Monday.
Yes, our train left on Sunday. It was allegedly supposed to leave around 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to arrive home roundabouts like midnight-ish.
Because you had to take the commuter rail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't you tell everybody about all that? Because the commuter rail wasn't even on time.
The commuter rail was late. Goodness knows where he is. He can only go one place. It's either back and forth, back and forth. Somehow he did not go back and forth. Somehow he was up in Timbuktu.
At that point, had you reconsidered?
I had reconsidered. That's another story.
Okay, keep
My
going.
husband did not reconsider. So then we get to Philly and sat in Philly until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Hours. And let me tell you, if you've ever sat in Philly in the train station with a 10-year-old, 11-year-old.
It's a nice train station, but it's not
was
filled with crazy, great people.
An adventure.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Sorry.
Adventure.
Yep.
And so so they finally get us on, get us to DC. They never told us what was going on, just that there were some maintenance issues. All right, get us to DC. They deboard us in DC and say, oh, I'm sorry. There was a fire earlier in Philly. That's why we were late. And we decided to drive it anyway.
And where was your luggage when they deboarded you?
Still on the train.
Okay. So had you reconsidered at this point?
I had definitely reconsidered. I was ready to take a Greyhound bus home at this point.
For any of you that know Erica, getting her on a Greyhound bus, that would be hilarious.
An act of Congress. So decided to, we were like, okay, we had no luggage, so we couldn't leave DC. So we just had to sit there again in DC at whatever time it was, 9 o'clock at night with a 10-year-old. And that was a fantastic experience. And then they said, well, maybe we'll get you home. And they finally got us home. We pulled into the train station at 6 a.m.
What time did we get home?
We get home at 7 because it was an hour away.
Right. What time did I get home?
You got home at, I don't even want to talk about it.
2 o'clock. I pulled in the driveway at 2:04. And that was after stopping. I stopped for food.
Our train caught on fire.
I stopped for gas. I stopped at the train station to pick up my car. And then I got home. Yeah, we called you and we were already past DC. We're like, hey, how's it going? You're like, we're still in DC. I'm like, do you need us to turn around and come get you? They're like, we can't because our luggage. No, let me ask you this question.
I was so ready to just be done and be like, okay, we're out. 2 away suitcases, but her comp uniform was in the luggage.
Had you had your luggage?
We would have been. I would have hitchhiked home at that point.
I love it. Yeah, we got home at 2. That was quite the adventure. We felt so terrible. But at the same
never, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
So speaking of traveling, because now you made me think of this, I am in the search for a suitcase. We've talked about this.
Hands down.
I know, but then I read all these stories about like Away and Monos and Nomadic.
Away. Hands down.
I have one brought up. If I could virtually click my laptop over there.
Hands down.
I think I'm going to get the new coastal blue one.
Yeah. I'm telling you, they have the best lifetime guarantee. So for those of you who don't know me, I travel my day job. I am an executive director for an Italian company. And so I travel quite frequently, AKA I'm never home.
Yep.
And, Away. Hands down. I would never switch ever.
Yeah, we travel so much.
Unless maybe one of the new Rimawas, but they're like $3,000.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. And I looked like high-end luxury stuff, and then everybody's like, it falls apart and it's so heavy. Yeah.
The Rimawas are the only ones that could tempt me because I've heard they are incredible.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones I maybe, but I love my Away.
Yeah. So Away, if you're watching this podcast, I'm going to actually send this to you now. I would love to see if you want to sponsor an episode of Hit Season. We literally travel every week. So I would love to have a suitcase that can support all of my clothes and needs and things while we're on the vigorous road.
And you have a public spokesperson.
Yeah. Traveling international.
Love it. Well, I'm a huge fan already.
Yeah, I need to probably just bite the bullet and see and buy one because I need one, and we're just in a suitcase all the time, and I'm kind of tired of my Target.
And they come with the little now I sound like I'm in an Away commercial. They come with the little laundry bags. I love them.
Yeah, I want to get the little pods. I really want to do a better job of packing.
You don't use what are those things called? Squares?
Yeah, the pods, the little packing pods.
It's amazing what you can fit.
Oh, I'm like schlepping through my packing.
Through life.
And I have to sit on it, and I have to try to cram everything all in there. And for some reason, it goes to the comp in one condition and then comes back from the comp 17 sizes bigger. And I don't understand how that happens, but I'm done with that. So now I'm trying to decide on the carry-on or the bigger carry-on.
The bigger carry-on. That's what I think. Hands down. I'll bring mine over. I will convert you.
Well, I've seen yours. Yours is the white one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I need to just order one because I'm just gone all the time.
Do it.
Okay. So that takes care of that. So for those of you who travel as well, if you have your own ideas, put them down in the comments, but I'm probably pretty sure just going to buy that. I bring so much stuff with me to comps from a digital standpoint that it's I just need something that's easy and durable like everything else. Cause I contemplated just getting a Pelican. Because I only carry 3 other Pelicans. I might as well carry a fourth one. But they're not really conducive for, and I like having the 4 wheels rather than the 2 that Pelicans have. So we'll see. That'll be fun. But yeah, so we've got an Away comp. It's local. So we got a 1-dayer coming up. So we'll do that. And then we've got some really cool guests coming on.
Yes.
We got another cheer mom coming on. We've got I'll just say it. We've got a pretty famous TikTok judge. Yes. That's all I'll say, that we talked with a couple weeks ago.
We have a cheer company that we just talked to this morning.
Yeah, an international cheer company. So they're going to be on soon. And then cheer mom. We've got a couple well-known program owners
who might be opening a new gym in the southeast.
So we've got all sorts of cool stuff. So, but again, if anybody wants to be on the podcast and you want to come on and provide some value, I actually talked to someone earlier today. I didn't tell you this already. They are a therapist. And so I'd love to get them on just to talk about like the mental health aspect of cheer and for parents. And then we got a chiropractor coming on.
I love it.
So we can really just kind of get that full compassing. What does this look like, right? There's a lot of aspects of cheer that you don't think about.
Yes.
Like traveling, like luggages, like away.
Health, yes. Health, wellness, all of it.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of health, I keep thinking of things to talk about. Did you know they make, what is that? Not Pedialyte. What is that stuff? Electrolyte applesauce. Did you know that?
No, I've heard of liquid IV. Liquid IV.
Yeah.
I've never heard of applesauce. Oh, for babies.
Electrolyte. Well, be careful. Electrolyte applesauce. One of the gym moms told me about it at the comp this weekend when one of us wasn't feeling well. She's like, "Would you like some electrolyte applesauce?" Interesting. Yeah.
Never heard of such a thing in my life.
Shout out to Kelly. I'd never heard of that before. It was the strangest thing I've ever heard, but so amazing.
Huh. Who knows?
Yeah, just little stuff like that.
Veteran cheer moms.
See, that's why you got to find these veteran cheer moms because they got all the tips and tricks. All the
good stuff.
All right. Well, I think that we're caught up at this point.
I think so.
So, well, cool. Well, this has been another episode of Behind the Lens. It's always so much fun to catch up and just kind of chat about all sorts of stuff, including me.
Yes. No. We appreciate you joining and listening to us, and we will talk soon. You'll hear from us soon, but this was another Behind the Lens.
This is awesome. All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.